Hey, Jay here. This is 100 things to do to your Honda 450X. No, I didn't count them. We're just going to do it, and if I'm off some, no big deal. But I think there probably is at least 100 that we've done to this thing. So we're going to give you a look at this CRF450X. We're actually shooting this thing with Dirt Rider next week. These bikes are the staple for Baja and off-road racing the last 15 years, let's say. These things are kind of just tanks. They are heavy, like a tank, but they're also pretty bulletproof and good, strong bikes. So we're gonna show you everything we did to this thing right now and kind of some things you could look to do on your 450X and maybe some things to stay away from. So here's a look right now. So to start with, back here at the back of the bike, we cleaned up the rear axle. We got our works connection chain blocks in here. TM Design makes a rear rotor guard, which is really cool. We have a caliper guard coming. It was on back order, so we have it coming. Be here in the next day or two. We put new wheels mainly because we could. Our stock wheels weren't too bad, but these wheels pretty nice. Good value for the money from Tusk. Have the Tusk rotor bolts and sprocket bolts, and of course our super sprocket with our O-ring chain, off-road chain. Our swing arm, we cleaned it up and re-greased the swing arm pivot and all the linkage bearings. For the brakes, we put new brake pads on. We use the stock insulators. I like to keep those stock insulators on the pads, and we put new fluid, flushed this completely and bled it. Got our works connection cap on here. Got our IMS core pegs, nice wide, very sharp, heavy duty and strong. We have our full Henson clutch in here. Makes this clutch just really indestructible. Really good strong cover with a heavy duty clutch. We have our works connection cap here for the engine. TM Design's skid plate, plastic, so it doesn't vibrate and resonate, but very strong and durable here, can take a big impact. We have our FMF exhaust, stainless steel system, mounted up to an aluminum 4.1 muffler with a spark arrestor in there, so we're good and legal in our off-road riding areas. Right here you can see the pickup. This hole is stock in the radiators, but it's plugged up. You unbolt that, plug this thermostat in here, and you can see we have this bike running a little bit, it's cooling down. Right here we have our Trail Tech fan tucked in here, which is a really tight fit with the IMS radiator, IMS gas oversized tank, but we're able to, I'll probably shoot a video on doing this, but you can actually bend the tanks, and the IMS tanks, you heat them up, push against them, and then put freezing cold water on it, and you can actually bend them. You don't obviously want to do it when there's any fuel in there and all that, but there's ways to do that. I'm sure there's probably some videos out there, and if there isn't, I'll probably do one soon. Got the fan to keep this thing cool in the tight stuff. We have our Applied makes this little block off kit right here, and we change the hose routing out of the valve cover, so it comes down out of the valve cover for our overflow directly out, and we plug it off at the air box so we're not puking any overflow oil onto the air filter. We have our new plastic on this bike. This is all from UFO. Red and white pieces throughout the bike with the Decal Works graphics to match. The Works Connection radiator guards are a nice thing to have on an off-road bike. These have actually been cut a little bit to accommodate the fan. I've cut those to make them work. So front wheel, again we have the Tusk wheel with the Tusk oversized front rotor and caliper bracket, which had to be swapped out with new brake pads up front and a new brake line. The front brake line is the one you really want to be the best. Old brake lines, stock ones especially, you get a spongy feel. We have the Tusk steel braided line, and that thing is really strong once it's bled properly, really good. Those are made by Galfer for Tusk, I believe. Factory connection. Went through the suspension to set it up for us and put new valves, new valving, and also new seals, oil, all that, and really incredible stuff. UFO plastic, they also have a headlight, which we had to wire in. It doesn't come with a plug that plugs into your stock one, which kind of sucks, but cool looking light and not too tough to install. So we have all the plastic pieces. We have a Tusk high temp cap on here in the radiator. Enduro Engineering handguards, wraparound handguards are a must for a trail bike. Big heavy bike, you drop this thing, you don't want it to break a lever or anything. So handguards are nice, and it's nice when you're plowing through trees and rocks and so forth. Really nice deal. We have our Motion Pro throttle tube with a hole cut in there. Works connection cap here, and works connection rotating bar mount is going here. Came in today. We don't have it on there yet. Steering stem nut. Renthal 604 fat bars with Renthal large bar mounts right here. You can see our works connection clutch perch over here, full perch setup. We have a new clutch cable through all balls, and we have our line taped on here. We've also disconnected this switch. There's a switch on there, the clutch, that you have to start the bike only with the clutch pulled in. You can wire those two together when you take the stock clutch lever off. You can start it without having to have the clutch pulled in. Again, we have our IMS large tank. Up front here to hold the steel braided line, we have a Ride Engineering clamp, which works really nice. The carburetor, fully cleaned and kit from All Balls, has a full kit. Carburetors on these bikes are critical to go through and make sure all good. We changed the front sprocket as well as the rear sprocket is a 51 on here. That's what we've gone with, the 1451. That gearing seems really good. Air filter to a uni, and we take the backfire screen out, gives it a little bit more pop. This bike is really fast as any new Honda 450 out there. This thing is really fast. Maybe it's not as easy to ride and controllable as a fuel injected bike, but it's really fast. Moto Seat to put a new seat cover for us. We have DecalWorks graphics to match on this complete bike, and we made us a really cool custom looking kit to match everything we did. We put new coolant, and then the big mods, hot cams, stage 2 cam, and a Vertex high compression piston. So this thing just barks with how much power this thing makes. So some big changes to this thing there. We got our Cometic gaskets in the engine, but we didn't do anything to the bottom end of the engine. We just put new piston, new gaskets, and the cam. So that takes care of our top end. We did the linkage bearings, we greased all those. We have a Trail Tech kickstand we've added onto this thing. The stock one was pretty much wasted. So we have the Trail Tech kickstand, and that seems to be about it. I'm not sure if anyone's gonna count all that, but that's it.